The White House initially released an official Christmas portrait showing President Donald Trump standing alone in front of a decorated Christmas tree. But the absence of First Lady Melania Trump immediately caught attention online and raised questions. Why wasn't she in the photo? Speculation grew across social media platforms, with users pointing out that it was unusual for an official holiday portrait to feature the president solo, especially during Christmas. And just as the chatter gained traction, the White House released a second image. The newly shared portrait shows Donald and Melania Trump together, dressed formally, standing side by side, hands clasped, and posed in front of the same festive backdrop. At first glance, everything appears polished, even affectionate. But as viewers took a closer look, doubts began to surface. Some online observers claimed the image looked almost too perfect, prompting speculation that it may have been digitally altered. The focus quickly narrowed to President Trump's right hand. In recent public appearances, President Trump has been seen with visible bruising on his right hand, sparking ongoing online discussion about his health. In certain instances, observers have suggested the discoloration appeared partially concealed, possibly with makeup. In the Christmas portrait, however, critics claim the bruising appears entirely absent, leading to accusations that the hand may have been digitally retouched. Social media users zeroed in not only on the hand, but also on the facial expressions in the photo. Many noted that neither Donald nor Melania Trump were smiling, calling the expressions stiff and unusually somber for a holiday portrait. Comments poured in, with users questioning whether the couple appeared intentionally serious or simply uncomfortable. Others criticized the image as overly staged, while some mocked what they called holiday photoshopping. And this isn't happening in isolation. The Christmas photo scrutiny comes as Epstein-related revelations dominate headlines, with Trump reacting publicly to Clinton's presence in the files.
Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year?
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they give you their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly. But he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers, and Bill Clinton was a friend of his. But everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, and as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida, and everybody would come here. He'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it, but you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein many years ago, and they're highly respected bankers and lawyers and others.
the survivors are also voicing renewed anger over what they say still hasn't been addressed.
Just put out the files and stop redacting names that don't need to be redacted. It's just, who are we trying to protect? Are we protecting the survivors, or are we protecting these elite men that need to be put out there? And people need to know these are predators that are in the files. They need to be brought to justice so they can stop doing this in the long run. It's for everyone's safety at the end of the day. I haven't gone through all of it, so I don't want to speak, I don't want to say the wrong things, but I do understand that also a lot of important, people have been redacted from it. And the whole process of being transparent was to only redact the survivors and the victims' names. So here we are right where we started with the first files. These names that need to be put out there, people need to know about these people, have been redacted. So it's a little bit confusing. I feel like, again, the DOJ, the justice system, is failing us. In the beginning, they were calling us a hoax, right? They were like saying that we were a hoax. And now they're like, we believe you. We're going to release the files. But yet you still haven't released the files, and it's not even full transparent. So it's very nice to say it, but it's also nice to actually do it.
Maria Farmer was a professional artist. She was about 25 years old. She had graduated from the New York Academy of Art, a figurative arts school in New York, and she was working as an employee for Jeffrey Epstein in New York City. She has consistently and repeatedly said that in 1996, in the summer of 1996, she reported Jeffrey Epstein to the FBI after having reported him to the New York Police Department. She reported Epstein, and she reported Ghislaine Maxwell as well for child sex abuse crimes, including child pornography. We've spent many years trying to get her records through Freedom of Information Act requests, which are the classic way to get them. The most recent Freedom of Information Act request I made was in January. I got a response in January 2025, that's earlier this year, and they told me that they wouldn't get back to me before November 2027 to just answer my request. And this has been and when we've seen anything from the government, which is infrequent, it's highly redacted information. And we've never seen anything before corroborating her 1996 report, but we just saw it yesterday for the first time in 30 years, which is remarkable, really remarkable. All we know right now from the documents is that there was a clear and corroborated report that Maria Farmer did exactly what she has said for 30 years that she did. She reported Epstein to the authorities, to the federal authorities, to the FBI. And as far as we can tell, and I wish I knew, Kristen, I wish I had more information out of the files or otherwise, it looks like the government did absolutely nothing. And as a result, having done nothing, having failed to act, horrible things have happened. Had they acted, had they investigated in even the smallest way, they could have stopped him. And it's not just the victims, it's also the victims' families, because it affects not just that person, but everyone they deal with, their loved ones, the people that they come in contact with, their ability to function in society. So it affected thousands of lives, and they could have spared that for those thousands of people, and they could have avoided 30 years of trauma if they had just done their job. One of the key things we want to accomplish with this release of files is transparency. Another key thing is belief, restoration of public trust in the institutions. And a third thing is accountability. And so far, we're not hitting any of those marks. Maria said it beautifully to me yesterday. She said it's tears of joy and tears of sadness. Tears of joy because she's now validated. She's vindicated. Yes, she did what she said she did. And that the world can now see that. And all those naysayers, and there have been a lot of naysayers accusing her of not telling the truth, who disregarded her, discarded her, dismissed her for so many years, decades. She's now has some kind of corroboration and vindication that this is true. And the sadness, the tears of sadness, because look at the waste of the 30 years. And not only for her, but for so many victims, whether it's Virginia Giuffre or all the other survivors who didn't have to be